It was all because of a single sentence his girlfriend uttered after a fever. For her, Ethan Miller had knelt his way up all 999 stone steps of Redemption Peak on Mount Absolution, seeking the legendary charm said to ward off any misfortune. He'd ignored his knees, raw and bleeding, and clutching the precious token, rushed back to Northwood General to care for her. But before he even reached her private room, peals of laughter echoed from within. "You're a genius. Olivia, seriously. Just one casual mention of a charm. And that sucker Ethan actually went and did the whole kneeling pilgrimage. I got the whole thing on drone footage, every agonizing step. Man, Ethan's sheer determination almost moved me. Your parents are going to eat this up." Inside, Olivia Hayes, who'd been lounging on the hospital bed, sat bolt upright, snatching the phone to watch. Hearing the sickening thud of a forehead hitting stone, mingling with the recorded sounds of a relentless downpour, Ethan's own legs began to tremble. His breath hitched. He peered through the crack in the door, his eyes wide with disbelief at the scene unfolding. "Don't worry, Liv. It's all shot from behind. No way to tell it's not him. This is video number 96. Almost there. Yeah, but your family's tradition is insane, Olivia. The guy has to make 99 sacrifices for his future wife before he can even think about a ring. You didn't want Caleb to suffer, so you found Ethan, a dead ringer for Caleb from the back, to be the stunt double. Once you hit 99 videos of his sacrifices, Caleb just waltzes in and takes the credit. Man, though, Ethan's got it rough. Last time, Olivia said Hayes Corp needed volunteers for a new drug trial, and bam, he signs up, ended up in the hospital with a massive allergic reaction. And remember that scuffle Olivia got into downtown? He took the fall, did a few days in the city lockup, so her reputation wouldn't take a hit. You could tell he's crazy about her. Too bad Olivia's heart belongs to someone else. The video ended. Olivia tossed the phone back. "Good work," she said, her voice cool. Then, her gaze, sharp as ice, landed on the one who dared to express sympathy for Ethan. What's pitiful about him? If his back didn't look exactly like Caleb's, he wouldn't have had a prayer of dating me. Once this is done, I'll give him a generous payout. He's not losing out. The disdain in her eyes, as she spoke those words, was a physical blow to Ethan, watching from the hallway. He froze, a searing pain, worse than any physical injury, tearing through his chest. So, this cherished relationship, his everything, was nothing but an elaborate lie. Olivia had chosen him only to spare her true love, Caleb, any hardship, making Ethan a mere stepping stone on their path to marriage. "Hey, Olivia, Ethan should be back with that charm any minute now, right? I'll go check." Footsteps approached the door. Panicked, Ethan forced his trembling legs to move, ducking into a nearby stairwell. The sudden movement sent fresh blood seeping from his torn knees, soaking through his jeans. But the physical pain was nothing, not even a fraction of the agony ripping through his soul. Olivia's words echoed in his mind. In her eyes, allowing him to date her was some kind of supreme gift. A bitter wave washed over Ethan. He'd been in love with her for so long, ever since his junior year in college, when she, a freshman, had pulled him back from a swerving delivery truck. Even before that day, Olivia Hayes' name was legendary on campus. The only daughter of the wealthy Hayes family of Northwood City, her combination of status and stunning looks had a legion of guys falling over themselves. But she was famously aloof. That day was no different. After saving him, Olivia had instantly let go, coolly advising him to watch where he was going. Ethan, still in shock, had mumbled his thanks and hurried off. Yet, as he walked away, he'd felt an intense gaze fixed on his back, lingering for what seemed like an eternity. After that, he'd started running into Olivia accidentally all over campus, at the Campus Mart, the University Rec Center. Then, she joined the student government and, by some coincidence, was assigned to his committee. Their interactions became frequent, charged with an unspoken current. In such close proximity, Ethan found it increasingly difficult to hide his feelings. One night, they were working late in the student gov office when the power suddenly cut out. In the pitch black, Ethan felt arms wrapped around him from behind. Then, Olivia's voice, cool yet intoxicatingly seductive, whispered in his ear, "Ethan, you like me, don't you?" Before he could answer, she continued, "If you like me, why not try asking me out? What if I say yes?" His heart hammered against his ribs. Her words, her closeness, made him lose all reason. He mustered his courage, and, in the darkness, he kissed her. That night, they became a couple. But Olivia had one condition no one could know. Her excuse was her strict family, who wouldn't allow her to date before she was established in her career. Ethan, besotted, had agreed. From then on, Olivia's life seemed plagued by an endless stream of minor crises that only Ethan could resolve. It started with late-night takeout deliveries and retrieving a dropped necklace from a fountain. It escalated to him becoming a human guinea pig for a company's new drug, then taking the rap for her public altercations, and now, this, kneeling up 999 steps in a storm for a damn charm. Ethan had done it all without a word of complaint. Olivia always made him feel as if she were an unattainable star. Only by doing more, by sacrificing more, could he ever hope to get closer to her. Until now, the truth, overheard through a cracked door, had slapped him across the face, hard and invisible. The realization sent shivers down his spine. His own family wasn't poor. He was the only son, groomed by his parents for success. Yet, he'd willingly stayed in distant Northwood City for Olivia, giving everything he had. And for what? To pave the way for another man. Thinking back, even that rescue from the truck, it was probably because she'd mistaken his back for Caleb's. Suddenly, his phone buzzed, yanking him from his chaotic thoughts. It was his mom, calling for Southport. "Ethan, honey, your dad and I have been talking. If you really don't want to come back, we'll move to Northwood to be with you." Hearing the lengths his parents would go to for him, Ethan's heart twisted. "No, Mom, don't," he choked out. "I've decided. I'm coming home. I'll accept the arranged marriage. From now on, I'm staying with you both." "Ethan, you were so adamant about staying in Northwood. What happened? Why the sudden change of heart?" Ethan was too drained to explain. He wiped a tear from the corner of his eye, his voice surprisingly firm. "Nothing happened, Mom. I miss home." "Oh, honey. Well, come back then. Your father and I are waiting. And about that marriage arrangement, don't feel pressured. Meet the young woman when you get back. If you like her, great. If not, we'll figure something else out." His mother added a few more comforting words before reluctantly hanging up. Ethan scrubbed the tears from his face and emerged from the stairwell. He hadn't taken 2 steps before bumping into Leo, one of Olivia's crew. "Ethan, man, there you are. You gotta go see Olivia. She's been worried sick about you. Can't even sleep." Silently, Ethan let Leo lead him to Olivia's room. The moment he walked in, he saw her propped up against the pillows, a soft smile playing on her lips as she looked at him. Her crew members greeted him respectfully. "Hey, Ethan." If he hadn't heard their earlier conversation, he would never have guessed the malice lurking beneath their friendly facades. "Ethan, thank you so much for getting that charm for me." Olivia stopped mid-sentence, her eyes locking onto the dark, obvious bloodstains on his pants. In an instant, she was out of bed, rushing to his side, guiding him onto the mattress. She rolled up her sleeves. "How did your knees get like this?" "You guys," she barked at her crew, "get a doctor in here now." The crew scattered to find the on-call physician. Olivia, meanwhile, examined Ethan's wounds with exaggerated care, her touch feather-light, as if terrified of causing him more pain. A cold, mirthless laugh echoed in Ethan's mind. Olivia, isn't this all you're doing? Your acting is so convincing, you probably even fool yourself." While the doctor was dressing Ethan's wounds, Olivia chattered, trying to distract him. "Ethan, I called you before you got back, but it went straight to voicemail. Were you on the phone with a friend?" Ethan kept his eyes downcast, shaking his head slightly. He said deliberately, "It was my mom. She was asking when I planned to get married." The room fell silent. Her crew exchanged knowing, uneasy glances. Olivia, after a brief pause, adopted a look of helpless apology. "You know how it is, Ethan. My family won't let me get married until my career is really taking off. Can you just give me a little more time? Once this new project at Hayes Corp is launched, I'll find a way to introduce you to them." Her words dripped with sincerity. But Ethan knew the real reason she wouldn't take him to meet her parents. He was just the stand-in. If he were exposed, how could those 99 videos be passed off as someone else's deeds? Besides, in Olivia's mind, there was no later for them. After the doctor finished bandaging his knees, Olivia insisted Ethan stay in the hospital for a few days for observation. Since it was a last-minute arrangement and no private rooms were available, Olivia had Ethan take her bed while she made do on the sofa. This time, Ethan didn't refuse. Late that night, once Olivia was sound asleep, Ethan quietly crept over to her side and picked up her phone from the nightstand. Olivia had never bothered with a passcode around him. She knew Ethan adored her too much to ever do anything that might displease her. The phone unlocked easily. Ethan opened her preferred secure messaging app. The contact pinned to the top was a man named Caleb Vance. Caleb, that must be him. Then, Ethan found a lock photo vault app on her phone. The album title read, "Marrying Caleb ASAP, 96/99. Inside, it showed exactly 96 video files. Though he couldn't see the content, Ethan knew instantly what they were. His 3 years, his love, his sacrifices. To Olivia, they were nothing more than a cold, emotionless progress bar. The day Ethan was discharged, Olivia threw a celebratory dinner for him. This was her pattern over the past 3 years. Every time Ethan made a sacrifice for her, she'd follow it up with a few days of sweetness, a small reward to keep him hooked, to make him crave her approval, to ensure he'd jump at her next demand. But Ethan, now armed with the truth, felt no flicker of joy. Only a desolate emptiness spread through him. "Forget it," he said, his voice flat. "I don't want to party. You guys go ahead." He had to get home, pack, book a flight, and get away from Olivia. Olivia finally seemed to notice his strange mood. She reached out to touch his forehead. "What's wrong? Aren't you feeling well? You usually love these things." Ethan flinched back, avoiding her touch. Before he could answer, a cool male voice interjected. "Olivia, what are you doing?" Ethan turned. A handsome man, his build strikingly similar to Ethan's own, was walking towards them. The moment Olivia saw him, she dropped her hand from Ethan and hurried to his side. "I told you to wait in the car. It's windy out here." She fussed with the collar of the man's jacket. The man let her adjust his clothes, his gaze fixed on Ethan. He offered a casual greeting. "You must be Ethan, right? Nice to meet you. I'm Caleb Vance, Olivia's childhood friend." As he spoke, he gave Ethan a quick, appraising once-over. Ethan felt himself stiffen. This was Caleb, the man Olivia was determined to marry. Did he know about the 99 sacrifices Ethan had endured in his place? A cold gust of wind swept by. Olivia quickly ushered both Caleb and Ethan into the car. During the drive, Olivia and Caleb chatted animatedly in the front seats, their easy camaraderie making Ethan, alone in the back, feel like an unwelcome intruder. From their conversation, he gathered that Caleb had gone abroad shortly after Ethan and Olivia had started their relationship and had only just returned. In this celebratory dinner Olivia was throwing, it was at Caleb's favorite restaurant, with all of Caleb's favorite dishes pre-ordered. At the restaurant, Olivia's crew was already seated around a large circular table in a private room. When they saw Caleb, they swarmed him, guiding him to the best seat. "Caleb, man, you've been gone for years. We've practically been pen pals. You still recognize us old mugs." Hey, did Caleb get even better looking overseas, or what? Of course, he did. How else would he have Olivia wrapped around his little finger? Laughter erupted, then died abruptly as they remembered Ethan. They shot nervous glances in his direction. Caleb cleared his throat and pulled Ethan to sit beside him. "Sorry about that, Ethan. Olivia and I grew up together, and these guys love to spread rumors about us. Don't mind them." Ethan forced a wan smile. "Yeah, no worries. As a stand-in, what right did he have to mind?" "Good." Caleb then turned to Olivia. "Leo was telling me you and Ethan are super close. He said when you were sick a couple of days ago, Ethan actually went to Redemption Peak and knelt up all 999 steps to get you a healing charm. Is that true?" Trying to spare Ethan's feelings, Olivia nodded. "It's true. I mentioned the charms that were said to ward off any misfortune, and he went the same day to get one for me." Caleb's voice was filled with exaggerated awe. "Ward off any misfortune? That powerful? Wow, I wish I had one." Olivia smiled, a hint of indulgence in her eyes. "If you want one, you can have mine." She immediately pulled out her phone, made a call, and had someone fetch the charm from her home and bring it to the restaurant. Soon there was a knock. The charm was delivered to Olivia, who promptly handed it to Caleb. Then, the messenger leaned in and whispered something in Olivia's ear. As she listened, her brow furrowed, her gaze flicking towards Ethan. She pondered for a moment, then nodded. "Okay, I get it. You can go back now." After the messenger left, Olivia took Ethan's hand and stood up. "Ethan, some clients are having dinner in the room next door. Come with me. Let's just say a quick hello." Ethan had no desire to go. Before he could refuse, Caleb, overhearing, also stood up. "I'll come check them out too." But Olivia firmly pushed him back into his seat, her tone leaving no room for argument. "Don't cause trouble. You sit here and eat. We'll be right back." With that, she pulled Ethan out of the room. He was led to the door of another private suite. When Olivia pushed it open, Ethan saw it was filled with foreign businessmen. Even Olivia seemed momentarily taken aback by the scene. Recovering quickly, she led Ethan inside and began conversing with him fluently in French. Then, Olivia handed Ethan a full glass of what looked like whiskey, took one for herself, and clinked glasses with the businessmen. Trapped, Ethan had no choice but to drink. After several rounds, led by Olivia, his head was spinning. He felt disoriented, seeing only a blur of unfamiliar foreign faces speaking a language he didn't understand, constantly pressing drinks into his hand, forcing him to gulp them down. He looked around helplessly for Olivia, but she was nowhere in sight. I can't drink anymore. Ethan slurred in English, his voice desperate. I need to leave. Let me go. He stumbled to his feet, but just as he reached for the door handle, a hand yanked him back by his hair. The businessman, clearly drunk and emboldened, started to paw at him, one even reaching for his belt. Terrified, Ethan grabbed the nearest liquor bottle and brandished it. Stay away from me. Get lost. But they either didn't understand or didn't care, their grins widening as they closed in. Ethan knew he was no match for them. In a panic, his only thought was to scare them off. Gritting his teeth, he smashed the bottle hard against his own head. With a sickening crack, the foreigners' faces registered shock. Ethan's vision tunneled to black. As he lost consciousness, he thought he saw the small, red recording light of a camera of him mounted on the wall, aimed directly at him. When he came to, Ethan found himself lying in his own bed at home. His head throbbed, wrapped tightly in gauze. He heard hushed voices from the living room. Pushing himself up, his body weak and shaky, he crept to the door and peered out. Olivia was pacing in the living room, fuming. Leo and Marcus stood before her, heads bowed. Olivia, we got the video of Ethan getting wasted with those clients for you. That's another sacrifice logged. No face shown. We're down to just 2 more videos to hit 99. Why are you still so mad? Olivia slammed her hand on the table. What kind of creeps did you find? Those guys were out of control, a bunch of perverts. One of them, Marcus, looked bewildered. But that's why it works better, right? Because they were aggressive foreigners. The effect is more convincing. Didn't you want your parents to approve it on the first try after seeing these 99 sacrifices? So you can bring Caleb home sooner. Olivia, Leo ventured, the way you're defending him. You're not actually falling for Ethan, are you? Shut up. Olivia snapped, hands on her hips. She paced agitatedly for a few moments, then pinched the bridge of her nose. I'm just worried they pushed him too far this time. What if he refuses to cooperate anymore? You guys need to show some restraint. We're so close to the finish line, don't screw it up now. Okay, good. So, Olivia, when should we schedule the next video shoot? Just 2 more, and you're done. I'm getting excited just thinking about it. Olivia's lips thinned. She was silent for a long moment before answering. I need to calm him down for a bit. The video shoots. Let's put them on hold for now. Ethan felt a roar in his ears. He couldn't listen to another word. Olivia and her crew. They were terrifying. Shaking uncontrollably, he stumbled back to his bed and buried himself under the covers. For the next few days, Olivia, true to her usual pattern, went overboard trying to be nice to Ethan. She bought him an expensive watch at an auction, arranged a citywide fireworks display for him on an ordinary evening, and orchestrated various other surprises. But Ethan's mood showed no signs of improvement. One day, Ethan walked out of his bedroom to find Olivia and Caleb sitting together in the living room, waiting for him. Caleb greeted him warmly, reaching out to take his arm, but Ethan recoiled sharply. Caleb could only offer an awkward smile. Ethan, man, still feeling the after effects of that incident. Don't worry, I wouldn't hurt you. It's my birthday party tonight, Caleb continued. Olivia told me you've been down lately, so I wanted to invite you to come hang out. Relax a bit. Olivia chimed in, yeah, Ethan, go. Caleb came all this way to invite you personally. She then added, her eyes narrowing slightly, and I've noticed you haven't been yourself lately. You keep checking flight apps, and you've packed up a lot of our things. What's going on? Are you thinking of moving somewhere? Her question sent a jolt of alarm through Ethan. She's suspicious? Olivia still needed him for those last 2 videos. If she found out he was planning to leave, with her connections in Northwood City, he probably wouldn't be able to get away easily. Steeling himself, Ethan forced a reply. You're overthinking it. Actually, I could use a break. Let's go. At least, he reasoned, it was Caleb's birthday party. Given how much Olivia doted on Caleb, she wouldn't dare try anything crazy there. At this, Caleb beamed, winking mysteriously. Great. And I have a major announcement to make at the party later. You should hear it too, Ethan. And so, Ethan found himself in a car, being driven to the lavish birthday celebration. The venue was decked out in Caleb's favorite blue balloons, flowers perfumed the air, and a professional band played sophisticated tunes. Every detail screamed opulence and careful planning. Caleb, seemingly used to such extravagance, remarked casually to Ethan, Olivia arranged all of this for me. Just a small birthday get-together, and she makes such a big deal. Your birthdays must be citywide extravaganzas, right, Ethan? Ethan lowered his gaze, a humorless smile touching his lips. His birthdays? For the past 3 years, his birthdays have been spent jumping into freezing lakes to retrieve lost jewelry for her, or battling blizzards to buy her breakfast. Olivia didn't care if he had a good birthday. She only cared about capturing footage of him going through hell and back for her. That way, she could fulfill her family's ridiculous tradition and marry Caleb. Seeing Ethan's dead-inside expression, Caleb seemed to lose interest and wandered off to drink with some other guests. Olivia, though physically near Ethan, had her eyes glued to Caleb. If he so much as brushed against another woman, her brow would furrow, and her grip on her wine glass would tighten. Soon, the guests had all arrived. Caleb took the microphone to make his major announcement. First off, thanks everyone for coming to my birthday party. And a huge thank you to my dear friend, Olivia Hayes, for making this place look so incredible. Caleb emphasized the words, dear friend, his gaze flicking provocatively towards Ethan. Actually, I have something else really important to announce. I'm getting married. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Olivia's crew exchanged bewildered glances. Olivia herself froze, her hand trembling so violently that her drink sloshed over her dress, unnoticed. Caleb raised his right hand, a dazzling diamond ring flashing on his middle finger. My fiancée has already said yes, my parents are thrilled, and I'm going to marry her very soon. She's wonderful, so good to me. I'm sure you'll all wish us well. Ethan felt an icy chill emanating from Olivia beside him. The next second, she bolted, shoving her way through the guests, leaping onto the low stage, and snatching the microphone from Caleb's hand. Without a word, she dragged him off stage. The venue fell into an unnerving silence. Those who knew the situation shot smirking, speculative glances at Ethan, their eyes practically stripping him bare. Excuse me, I need to use the restroom, Ethan muttered, his chest tight, and quickly fled the room. He hadn't gone far when he heard a heated argument erupting from a nearby alcove. The familiar, frustrated tones were unmistakably Olivia's. You explain yourself, Caleb. Who gave you permission to get married? Who gave you that ring? What do you take me for? Caleb's voice, unhurried and cool, replied, Shouldn't I be asking you that, Olivia? 3 years ago, you said you'd find a stand-in to help me fulfill your family's ridiculous traditions. So I went abroad and waited for you for 3 years. But you're still with that guy. It's been 3 years, and you're still not done. Olivia's voice was laced with anxiety. No, it's not like that. Getting 97 videos wasn't easy. We only need 2 more. Just give me a little more time, and I could take you to meet my parents. Caleb, you can't marry someone else. She grabbed his wrist, desperate. Caleb pried her fingers off, yanked the ring from his finger, and threw it to the ground. Fine, I'll tell you. This engagement ring is fake. But I'm done waiting. I want a straight answer, right now. How much longer are you going to make me wait? Olivia's fists clenched, but she couldn't bring herself to give Caleb a definite answer. She didn't understand why, when victory was so close. Yet, the thought of dumping Ethan after completing the 99 tasks left a bitter taste in her mouth. Ethan was always so careful around her, never presumptuous like the man standing before her. Maybe it was because she, too, felt Ethan was pitiful, having followed her for so many years. She'd find a way to compensate him generously afterwards. But the man she was going to marry, it had to be Caleb. With that resolve, Olivia said in a low voice, I'll speed things up. We'll get married. Caleb's smile returned. He leaned in and kissed her forehead. Ethan, who had witnessed the entire exchange, was pale, his body trembling. The horrific memory of those foreigners plying him with alcohol was still vivid. He couldn't imagine what horrors the last 2 sacrifices would entail. His mind a blank, Ethan stumbled out of the party and ran home. An hour later, Olivia called, asking where he was. He lied. I wasn't feeling well, so I came home early. Think I have a fever. Don't come over for a few days. I don't want to get you sick. There was a silence on the other end. Ethan hung up and double-locked his apartment door. The next morning, Ethan went to his office and resigned. He walked out of the building carrying a single box of his personal belongings, planning to leave Northwood City that very night. But there, leaning against her car at the curb, a smile playing on her lips as she watched him, was Olivia. Ethan's hand jerked, and the contents of his box spilled onto the sidewalk. Olivia strode over immediately, bending to help him gather his scattered items. You're not feeling well. You should be at home. What are you doing here packing up? Quitting. Ethan paused for a moment, then nodded. Yeah, I quit. Olivia finished packing the box, placed it in her trunk, and said casually, If you don't want to work, then don't. My money is yours to spend. Come on, she said, taking his arm and pulling him towards her car, opening the driver's side door. Let's go out, clear your head. Celebrate your resignation. She practically shoved him into the driver's seat. Ethan, my wrist is a little sore. You drive. I'll give you directions. She then settled into the passenger seat. They were halfway to an unknown destination when Olivia suddenly asked him to pull over, saying she needed to grab something from a convenience store. She told Ethan to wait in the car. He waited and waited. Olivia didn't return. Suddenly, the car's Bluetooth audio system crackled to life. All right, people, number 98 is about to kick off. Leo, is your camera feed good? A shiver ran down Ethan's spine. He glanced at the passenger side dashboard and saw the tiny, almost invisible lens of a hidden camera flash red twice. His heart hammered against his ribs. He reached for the door handle, only to find it locked. Someone had remotely locked him in. The Bluetooth crackled again. Video's good, but the audio isn't picking up. Marcus, you think there's time for me to tweak it? Forget it, no time. As long as the video records, that's all that matters. Ethan's body went rigid. Olivia had trapped him. What did she plan this time? Just then, an elegant, slender woman walked down the sidewalk and got into the car parked directly in front of him. The Bluetooth speaker spoke again, a gleeful tone in the voice. There she is. Sophia Wallace. Perfect. We'll have Ethan ram her car. That'll teach Olivia's competitor a lesson. And bam. Another sacrifice logged. Olivia's a genius. Huh. My end is recording. We're good to go. A cold bead of sweat trickled down Ethan's temple. They wanted him to record what? A car crash. How could he deliberately crash into someone? But then, to his horror, the car lurched forward, accelerating with terrifying speed, completely out of his control. It slammed head-on into the vehicle in front. With a deafening crash and a violent jolt, the driver's side airbag deployed, and Ethan blacked out. He opened his eyes to a world of white. Pushing himself up, he realized he was in a hospital. The fog in his memory slowly cleared, and the horrifying moments before he lost consciousness came rushing back. His heart began to pound again. Just then, there was a soft knock, and someone else in a hospital gown entered his room. Ethan recognized her instantly. It was the woman from the car he had hit, Sophia Wallace. Her face was a little pale, and her arm was wrapped in a bandage, but it couldn't hide the delicate beauty of her features. She looked at Ethan intently, her voice soft. Your girlfriend told me your car malfunctioned, and that's why you hit me. She said it wasn't intentional, so I won't be pressing charges. Don't worry. Ethan was too stunned to process her words fully. Then you're... What I mean is, Sophia continued, since it was a mechanical failure, we're both victims here. So, please, don't feel too much pressure or guilt. And, well, I also wanted to see how you were doing. She genuinely seemed to assess him, then concluded, you're sitting up, so it looks like you're not too seriously injured. Get plenty of rest. I have a feeling we'll meet again. With that, Sophia Wallace turned and left. Ethan remained dazed long after she was gone. A little while later, the phone by his hospital bed rang. It was his mother. Hello, Mom. His voice was raspy raw. Ethan, honey, your voice sounds terrible. Are you sick? Her concern brought a fresh wave of tears to his eyes. Mom, I'm okay. I'll be home soon. Don't worry about me. His mother sighed deeply on the other end. Ethan, you can come home whenever you want. But your health is the most important thing. She paused. Oh, by the way, that young woman I mentioned for the arranged marriage? She happens to be in Northwood right now. She even told me that if you needed anything at all, you could contact her. She's a very kind person, a Ms. Wallace. I'll text you her number. If you run into any trouble, she said she'd be happy to help. Okay, Ethan managed. His mother, hearing the exhaustion in his voice, told him to rest well and hung up. But for Ethan, it wasn't just exhaustion. It was a profound, chilling desolation. Olivia really must love Caleb. Otherwise, she wouldn't have orchestrated such an elaborate accident so quickly, faking a scenario where he crashed into her business rival, just to record that 98th video. His own safety, clearly, was never a factor in her considerations. Ethan gave a bitter, self-mocking smile and shook his head. Just then, there was another knock on his hospital room door. It was Olivia. Seeing Ethan's desolate expression, Olivia rushed to his side, her hands gripping his tightly, her voice laced with remorse. I'm so sorry, Ethan. I had no idea that car would malfunction. I never meant for you to get hurt and end up in a hospital. But don't worry, I've already had the car scrapped. And I promise, nothing like this will ever happen again. Ethan wanted to laugh. Scrap the car to destroy the evidence, more like. If the Bluetooth hadn't coincidentally malfunctioned that day, letting him overhear their scheme, he might have actually been fooled by her heartfelt act. But now, he wouldn't believe a single word out her mouth. Olivia continued. Ethan, the doctor said your injuries are mostly superficial. You'll be out of here soon. We'll check you out tomorrow, and then I'll take you on a fantastic cruise. Consider it my way of making it up to you. What do you say? Ethan frowned. pulling his hands free from her grasp, his disbelief palpable. Olivia, I'm not even fully healed, and you want to drag me onto a cruise ship tomorrow? Are you that desperate? His lips trembled as he asked. Was she that desperate to film the 99th video? Olivia seemed taken aback by his reaction. After a brief flicker of surprise, she quickly recovered. Ethan, what are you talking about? I just want to help you relax, take your mind off things. Besides, the cruise is already booked. I know you'll love it. Please, don't say no, okay? Ethan turned his head away, closing his eyes in weary resignation. The last shred of hope he'd clung to regarding Olivia disintegrated. It seemed she really was desperate to marry Caleb. After a moment, he whispered, okay. Seeing Ethan's submissive demeanor, Olivia felt a strange pang of unease. For a terrifying second, she thought he somehow knew about her plan, which was why he'd questioned her so sharply. But she quickly dismissed the idea. She'd fooled him for 3 years. His unconditional love had always blinded him to any inconsistencies. This time would be no different. Tomorrow was the last one. She'd already arranged for an accident on the cruise ship to capture the 99th video. After tomorrow, she could finally complete her task, say goodbye to Ethan, and marry Caleb. So, that discomfort she felt, it must just be the unfamiliarity of impending separation from Ethan. Never mind, she thought. Once it's done, I'll break up with him gently, and I'll make sure he's well compensated. Everything, just depending on tomorrow. After a moment's thought, Olivia leaned in and gently kissed Ethan's cheek. Ethan, you get some rest then. I'll pick you up on time tomorrow. We'll go on that cruise. She carefully tucked the blanket around him before getting up to leave. However, just as Olivia reached the door, Ethan called out to her. Olivia, there was a time I truly loved you. Olivia paused, a surprised look on her face, which quickly morphed into a smile. Why are you saying this all of a sudden? I really love you too, Ethan. She waved. Get some rest. See you tomorrow. Watching Olivia's figure disappear completely from his room, Ethan lowered his gaze. He picked up his phone and dialed the number his mother had just sent him from Ms. Wallace. Hello, Ms. Wallace? My mother said you promised to help me with anything. Is that true? There was no hesitation on the other end. Yes, Mr. Miller. Anything you need, you can count on me. Ethan took a deep breath, his voice calm and steady. I need your help to leave, before tomorrow morning, and preferably without anyone finding out. At 5 o'clock in the morning, a group of dark-suited bodyguards entered Ethan's hospital room. They escorted him through a service tunnel, out of the hospital, and into a waiting car that sped towards the airport. Just before his plane was about to take off, Ethan pulled out his phone and sent a single text message to Olivia. Olivia, you've tricked me 98 times. For the 99th, find someone else. After sending it, he deleted all of Olivia's contact information. The plane slowly ascended, carrying him towards Southport, towards home. After leaving the hospital, Olivia didn't go home. Instead, she drove straight to Northwood Harbor. A luxurious yacht was already docked, her crew anxiously waiting on board, ready for a final rehearsal for tomorrow's plan. Olivia, tomorrow's the day. The 99th sacrifice video. This is our last run-through. 3 long years for this. It hasn't been easy. Her crew members were practically buzzing with excitement, rubbing their hands together. But Olivia felt no joy, only a cold emptiness. She gave a curt nod. All right, let's get on with it. They had the script for this final act meticulously planned. It perfectly fulfilled the Hayes family tradition. The future son-in-law must demonstrate his willingness to sacrifice himself for his wife 99 times. Previously, they'd made Ethan sacrifice his interests, his principles, his dignity, his safety. For this last one, they intended for Ethan to sacrifice his life. They had already hired a group of menacing-looking thugs. The plan was for these pirates to kidnap Olivia once the yacht was in deep waters. Then, they would force Ethan to offer himself as a hostage in exchange for Olivia. Knowing Ethan as they did, they were certain that his concern for Olivia's life would compel him to step forward, even if it meant sacrificing himself. Today's rehearsal focused on how Olivia would be kidnapped and what expressions her crew should wear when persuading Ethan to become the replacement hostage. As the rehearsal was winding down, one of them, Marcus, suddenly slapped his forehead. Hey, Olivia, what if we have the kidnappers strap a bomb to Ethan? That would make it way more realistic. The footage of him, terrified but forced to wear a bomb to save you. That would be incredibly powerful. The others chimed in enthusiastically. Great idea, and I guarantee, even if they threaten him with a real bomb, he won't say a word if it means saving Olivia. So the bomb. Should we use a real-looking one? Ethan's not stupid. A lightweight fake wouldn't scare him. Yeah, it has to look real. Enough. Olivia's sharp voice cut through their excited chatter. Her face was grim. Are you all insane? It's just to film his back as he sacrifices himself for me. Why are you talking about bombs? What if something actually goes wrong? Who's going to take responsibility for that? The crew fell silent, not daring to speak. But the fury in Olivia's chest didn't subside. She couldn't understand it. Ethan had never done anything to provoke any of them. Yet here they were, excitedly and maliciously discussing how to terrify him. And all of it, every single bit, was because of her, Olivia Hayes. The thought of having to deceive Ethan again tomorrow, here on this yacht, filled her with a suffocating dread. She couldn't stand it any longer. She kicked a nearby deck chair hard, grabbed her car keys, and prepared to leave. That's enough rehearsal for today. Double-check all the equipment. And tomorrow, you make absolutely sure Ethan is safe. Olivia sped home, driving recklessly as if trying to outrun the turmoil in her heart. That night, she slept fitfully. The next morning, Olivia was up before dawn, dressed, and ready to go to the hospital to see Ethan. As she was driving, her phone pinged with a text message alert. But before she could even pick it up to look, Caleb's call came through. His voice was hoarse. Olivia, I just had a terrible nightmare. It was awful. Can you come over? Please. Olivia frowned slightly, but after a moment's silence, she replied, Okay, I'm on my way. Hanging up, Olivia turned the steering wheel, heading towards her suburban villa where Caleb had been staying since his return. When she arrived, Caleb immediately pulled her into a tight hug. Olivia could only pat his back soothingly, but her mind involuntarily drifted to Ethan. Both men, yet Ethan seemed never to have shown any vulnerability in front of her. Even after being tricked into sacrifice after sacrifice, even after being hospitalized multiple times, he had never so much as frowned, fearing she might feel guilty. Today, she thought, after I film that 99 video and break up with him, will he be sad? Olivia suddenly found herself unable to think further. A heavy weight settled in her chest. Forcing patience, she comforted Caleb for a long time. Only after he had calmed down did she take him with her to the harbor. Everyone was already on the yacht, preparations complete. But as Olivia scanned the deck, she couldn't find the one person she most wanted, or perhaps dreaded, to see. Where's Ethan? Didn't I tell you I had something urgent come up, and that you guys should pick him up from the hospital? Olivia, I sent Leo to get him, one of her crew replied, glancing at his watch with a puzzled expression. It's been a while. Why isn't Leo back with him yet? The words were barely out of his mouth when Leo came running towards them from the distance, breathless and panicked. It's bad, Olivia. Ethan's gone. The words punched the air from Olivia's lungs. She grabbed Leo by the collar. What did you say? What do you mean Ethan's gone? Leo was equally flustered. I got to the hospital, but Ethan's room was empty. I couldn't find him anywhere. I even checked the security footage, but everything before 6 a.m. was corrupted. After 6 a.m., there was no sign of Ethan in the hospital. I waited there for 2 more hours, but he never came back. Olivia irritably shoved him away and fumbled for her phone to call Ethan. As she did, her finger accidentally tapped on an unread text message. It was from Ethan. Olivia, you've tricked me 98 times. For the 99th, find someone else. Olivia froze. Her mind went blank, the words on the screen swimming before her eyes, as if they were in a foreign language. Ethan, he knew. How could he know? And when had he found out? And what did this message mean? Was he breaking up with her? Olivia suddenly found herself unable to think further. A heavy weight settled in her chest. Caleb, seeing Olivia's stunned expression, snatched the phone from her hand. A hard-to-read expression crossed his face as he read the message. The rest of the crew, curious about what could have caused such a reaction from Olivia, crowded around. After a moment of shocked silence, someone finally spoke. Now what? Ethan knows everything. How are we supposed to film this last video? Yeah, who screwed up and let the cat out of the bag? We were so close, and now this happens. Forget it. Maybe it's better this way. Saves Olivia the headache of figuring out how to break up with him. For this last video, why don't we just have Caleb do it for real? It's not like they're actual kidnappers anyway. Caleb frowned. Though clearly reluctant, he knew they were out of options. He put an arm around Olivia. Come on, Olivia. Since Ethan knows, he's definitely not coming. I'll do this last video. Olivia turned her head stiffly towards him, her voice barely a whisper. Then, what about Ethan? Caleb raised an eyebrow dismissively. Who cares about him? He was just a random stand-in I found to suffer for me. If he still has a problem and comes looking for you afterwards, just give him some money to shut him up. He then steered Olivia onto the yacht. Since there was no longer any need to deceive Ethan, they skipped straight to the final act. Olivia boarded a smaller boat with the prearranged fake kidnappers, who then pretended to tie her up, setting the stage for Caleb to be the hero who would trade places with her. Caleb, unaccustomed to hardship, fumbled his way through the short scene, complaining constantly. One moment, the kidnappers were too rough with the ropes. The next, the boat was too small and unsteady. Her crew tried to placate him. Caleb, come on, just bear with it. If the ropes aren't tight, it'll look fake. And yeah, we know this is all an act, but Olivia's parents are going to see this. You need to look scared later, not so defiant. Caleb stood with his back to Olivia, negotiating with the crew. The striking similarity of his silhouette to Ethan's inevitably brought Ethan to Olivia's mind. She wanted to say that appearing terrified wasn't the only way to make it look real. After all, every time Ethan had sacrificed for her, he hadn't shown a shred of fear. His steps were always firm, courageous, the natural expression of someone giving their all for the person they loved. As these thoughts swirled, Caleb, ready again, walked step by step towards Olivia. His figure, in her eyes, merged with Ethan's, conjuring countless different images. Ethan jumping into the icy lake for her, kneeling on stone steps, enduring a drinking contest, giving blood until he nearly collapsed. Olivia's heart began to race, faster and faster, until it felt like it would burst from her chest. She violently wrenched herself free from her bindings, ripped the fake gag from her mouth, and threw it aside. No, I'm not filming this. Everyone present was dumbfounded. Olivia, we just need one more video, and we're done. Why are you stopping now? Don't tell me. You've actually fallen for Ethan. Caleb, however, didn't believe Olivia could fall for someone else, though he sounded a little puzzled. Olivia, are you just tired of filming? Don't worry, I've already talked to them. We'll nail it in one take this time. Looking at Caleb's face, so close, the face she had obsessed over for countless days and nights, Olivia's senses began to clear. What had just happened to her? How could she have mistaken Caleb for Ethan? Besides, once this video was done, her mission would be complete. She could finally take Caleb to meet her parents. Why did she suddenly not want to film it? But the more Olivia tried to rationalize, the deeper her frustration grew. Even the meticulously crafted setting around them, designed to deceive Ethan, now felt utterly unbearable. In the end, she couldn't convince herself. I'm not feeling well today, she muttered hastily. Let's postpone for 2 days. Then, she jumped in her car, slammed the accelerator, and sped away from the harbor. Olivia drove aimlessly, and before she knew it, she found herself parked outside Ethan's apartment building. Steeling her nerves, she decided she had to talk to Ethan in person. Whatever compensation he demanded, she would meet it at any cost. But as she stepped out of the elevator, she was shocked to see Ethan's apartment door wide open. A middle-aged woman was inside, carrying boxes out. Olivia rushed forward, grabbed the woman's wrist, and demanded sharply, "Who are you? Stealing in broad daylight. Do you want me to call the police?" The woman, after a moment of surprise, realized she was being accused of theft. She erupted in anger. Where did this crazy woman come from? This whole apartment is mine. Am I wrong to clean out what a tenant left behind? Go ahead, call the police. Let's see who's stealing and who's causing trouble. Olivia's attention snagged on the middle part of the tirade. Her eyes narrowed coldly. You mean, Ethan moved out? Isn't it obvious? The landlady shot her a disdainful look and turned back to her task. The realization that Ethan had truly gone hit Olivia like a physical blow. She stood rooted to the spot, her hands trembling uncontrollably. She suddenly remembered seeing him at his company building with a box of belongings, saying he'd quit. And even before that, he'd been packing up things that belonged to both of them, constantly checking flight information. So, Ethan had known the truth for a long time. And he wasn't just breaking up with her. He was leaving Northwood City altogether. This time, Olivia truly panicked. She whipped out her phone and sent Ethan a message on Signal. Where are you? I need to talk to you. But the message was immediately flagged with a red exclamation point. Ethan had blocked her. Next, Olivia tried calling his number. Unsurprisingly, it went straight to a busy signal. She frantically tried every other way she could think of to contact him, only to arrive at the devastating conclusion. Ethan had blocked her on every platform. She couldn't reach him. Just then, her crew caught up with her. Olivia, you just took off. We thought something happened. So, you came to Ethan's place, huh? Whoa, what's going on in there? Why is everything being moved out? Olivia's expression was desolate. After a long moment, she lowered her phone and answered, Ethan. He moved out. Her crew exchanged glances, then burst out laughing. Seriously, Olivia, you had us worried there. So he moved out? Big deal. Saves you the trouble of dumping him, right? Gotta say, Ethan's pretty self-aware. Knew he got played by Olivia, couldn't make it in Northwood anymore, so he bounced early. But I get why Olivia's bummed now. I mean, 3 years together, and he just ghosts her. Ah, well, don't be upset, Olivia. Hey, my cousin just opened a new bar. Come on, let's go get some drinks. Her crew surrounded Olivia and swept her off to the bar. But once the drinking started, Olivia went hard, downing one glass after another with no intention of stopping. Her crew had expected a casual night of drinks and chat. No one had anticipated Olivia losing control to this extent. In this situation, no one dared to provoke the volatile heiress. One of them finally ventured. Olivia, what's gotten into you? Maybe slow down a bit. Olivia remained silent, slamming back another drink. She herself didn't know what was wrong. Why did Ethan Miller's name keep surfacing in her thoughts lately? He was just a stand-in, a tool to complete those absurd 99 family rules in Caleb's place. From the very beginning, when she decided to get close to him, she had been prepared to discard him once his purpose was served. So why now, when he was truly gone, did she feel such intense pain? Yes, pain. The mere thought of Ethan leaving Northwood City, leaving her side, filled her with an indescribable ache. And a strange, hollowing emptiness. She couldn't understand why. When everything was progressing according to her plan, when it was all about to end, her subconscious screamed that everything had gone terribly wrong. Even when Caleb, the man she'd longed for, stood before her, she felt like it should have been Ethan. With that thought, Olivia poured herself another drink. Her crew, unable to stop her and afraid to watch her self-destruct, secretly dialed Caleb's number. Olivia didn't know when she blacked out or when she was carried upstairs to a private suite. She opened her eyes, her head pounding from the hangover, and immediately saw a figure with his back to her, tidying up. The back. It was identical to Ethan's. Olivia scrambled out of bed and threw herself at him, hugging him tightly from behind. The man's body tensed for a moment, then his hands came up to cover hers on his arms. Olivia buried her face in his neck, her voice hoarse. You're finally back. I've been looking for you everywhere these past few days. Couldn't we have just talked things out? Why did you have to disappear without a word? Caleb sounded confused. Olivia, when did I disappear? Haven't I been here all along? The sound of his voice was like a douse of cold water. Olivia jerked back as if electrocuted, releasing her grip on Caleb. Why is it you? Who else would it be, silly? Caleb chuckled, finding her behavior amusing. He pulled her to sit beside him on the bed. You were completely wasted last night. Leo and the guys called me over in a panic. The moment you saw me, you clung on for dear life. Now you're sober and acting like this. You're really something. Anyway, he continued, I know you're eager to take me home and meet your parents. Since you're awake now, let's hurry up and finish filming that last video on the yacht. That way, I can complete my mission and marry you sooner. But Olivia seemed dazed, lost in thought. Ever since she realized the man before her was Caleb, she hadn't been present. Olivia, are you listening to me? Olivia finally looked up at him. After a moment, she shook her head gently. I think. Let's not film it after all. Caleb was stunned. What did you say? Olivia ran a frustrated hand through her hair and blurted out her thoughts. Yes, I'm not filming it. I think what we're doing is fundamentally wrong. Tricking Ethan into making all those sacrifices for me, then claiming you were the one who did them. It's not fair to Ethan. She felt, deep down, that Ethan's genuine love for her shouldn't be so callously transferred to another person. That sincere emotion, those unconditional sacrifices, shouldn't be trampled by her like this. Caleb shot to his feet, staring at her in disbelief. Olivia Hayes, don't tell me that after 3 years of scheming, you've suddenly developed a conscience and regret everything. Olivia simply lowered her head, silent. Her reaction instantly enraged Caleb. He violently swept a nearby vase off a table, sending it crashing to the floor with a loud bang. What do you take me for? I waited for you for 3 years, and now you suddenly tell me to just forget it? You only feel it's unfair to Ethan? Well, what about me? You changing your mind like this? Is that fair to me? Hearing the commotion upstairs, the crew rushed in, only to be met with this chaotic scene. After his outburst, a horrifying possibility dawned on Caleb. He stared directly at Olivia, his voice trembling. Olivia Hayes, tell me the truth. The reason you don't want to complete the 99 family rules and marry me, is it because you've fallen in love with Ethan? At his words, Olivia froze. A flicker of light ignited in her eyes. Her crew, however, looked utterly incredulous, clamoring to dissuade Caleb. Caleb, what are you talking about? Ethan is just a stand-in whose back looks like yours. How could Olivia possibly fall in love with him? Olivia is just upset because he dared to leave without a word. That's why she's in a bad mood. Yeah, everyone knows how crazy Olivia is about you. If it weren't for those ridiculous family rules, we'd have been calling you her husband ages ago. Come on, Caleb. Don't get worked up over a mere stand-in. But just then, Olivia abruptly stood up and kicked the coffee table in front of her, sending it flying. Glass shattered everywhere. Everyone gasped, cautiously watching her reaction. Olivia's nails dug into her palms. Her sharp gaze swept over everyone, finally landing on Caleb's face. Yes, she declared, her voice ringing with conviction. You were right. I am in love with Ethan. And I'm going to find him right now. I need to tell him everything. Having said this, Olivia seemed to have found her purpose. She snatched her car keys and, under the astonished gazes of everyone present, bolted out of the room like a whirlwind. Olivia drove straight back to the Hayes Corporation headquarters. She instructed her assistant to drop everything and immediately mobilize all available resources to find Ethan Miller and to dig up every piece of information related to him. While waiting for the results, she found the box of Ethan's belongings that he had left in her car when he resigned. Seeing his neatly arranged personal effects, Olivia inevitably thought of him again. Though she knew it was wrong to go through someone else's things, she couldn't resist. With a mixture of reverence and longing, she picked up each item, turning it over in her hands as if this simple act could somehow bridge the distance between them, allow for an indirect conversation. At the very bottom of the box lay a notebook. She opened it and saw Ethan's neat, clear handwriting. It was his diary, clearly several years old, chronicling their story from their university days. Almost got hit by a truck today. Olivia Hayes pulled me out of the way. She's a freshman, a year below me, but already a campus legend. Even though I recognized her instantly, seeing her up close, I was stunned. She's even more beautiful in person than in pictures. But her personality is so cold, I didn't dare say much. Just mumbled thanks and left like an idiot. I don't know why, but I keep running into Olivia Hayes these days. Today at the campus mart, we both reached for the same rice ball. Our hands brushed. This time, she actually smiled at me, let me have a rice ball, and then left. Suddenly, I'm really hoping I'll run into her again tomorrow. My friends are about Olivia and are all teasing me, saying I must have a crush on her. They say with my family background and looks, going after her should be a breeze. But I don't dare take that step. She's the campus queen, every guy wants her. And me? I'm probably just the most ordinary guy in the crowd. I thought seeing Olivia at the rec center today was lucky enough. But then, tonight, she joined student government and got assigned to my committee. So, does this mean we're friends now? Olivia Hayes figured out I like her. We kissed. We're together. This all feels like an unbelievable dream. Reading these emotion-filled words, Olivia felt herself transported back 3 years. She had to admit, the reason she'd impulsively saved Ethan from that oncoming truck was because, in that split second, she'd mistaken his back for Caleb's. That's why, upon seeing Ethan's face, she'd quickly let go and coldly told him to be careful. Yet long after Ethan had walked away, the feel of his solid physique, the unique, unparalleled sensation he'd evoked in her, had lingered. Later, she found herself frequently dreaming of that afternoon, dreaming of Ethan. She began to consciously or unconsciously orchestrate accidental encounters with him. Olivia didn't know why she was doing it. After all, back then, she was convinced she would end up with Caleb. It wasn't until one of her crew members made an offhand remark that she could use Ethan's resemblance to Caleb from behind, trick him into completing the family traditions in Caleb's stead, that Olivia found a legitimate reason to get close to Ethan. And throughout that process, her heart, she now realized, had been secretly joyful. The night she and Ethan officially became a couple, Olivia had been too excited to sleep. At the time, she believed her elation stemmed from finally being able to move forward with her plan, to prepare for her marriage to Caleb. But only now, in this moment of clarity, did so many things click into place. Her joy back then wasn't just about the plan. It was because she was genuinely happy to have Ethan. She had been drawn to Ethan from their very first meeting. And in the subsequent interactions, bit by bit, she had fallen hopelessly in love with him. The realization made Olivia's heart pound furiously, far more intensely than it had on the day Caleb had confessed his feelings for her. So, Ethan Miller, he was the man Olivia Hayes truly wanted to spend her life with. Olivia quickly pulled out her phone and sent a message to Ethan's block number. Ethan, no matter where you've gone, I will find you and win you back. Even though the message was once again met with a red exclamation mark, it did nothing to diminish Olivia's newfound resolve. Just then, Olivia's assistant entered the office, arms laden with files. Ms. Hayes, this is all the information I could find on Mr. Miller. However, his current whereabouts are still unknown. It appears someone deliberately erased records of his departure that night. It will take some more time to trace him. Olivia gestured for her to put the files down. Keep searching. The faster, the better. After the assistant left, Olivia took a deep breath and began to go through the documents. The first page featured a photograph of Ethan. Seeing it, her heart once again quickened its pace. As she delved into the files, Olivia realized with a pang of guilt that she had never truly bothered to get to know Ethan. He was from Southport, she now learned, which explained the gentle, cultured aura he always carried, the pleasant cadence of his voice. He was the only son of the prominent Miller family of Southport, a family of considerable standing. He had been meticulously educated since childhood, excelling in various skills, from music and arts to literature and academics, and had won numerous prestigious awards. And yet, she had known none of this. In her presence, Ethan had never displayed an ounce of arrogance. Instead, he had willingly sacrificed himself for her, time and time again. The truth was, he was never just an ordinary speck of dust in the crowd. He was a brilliant, dazzling diamond who had willingly dimmed his own radiance for her. Olivia's fingers trembled as she turned page after page of the report. Such an exceptional man, a man who deserved such a bright future, had been cruelly held back by her for 3 long years. Never before had Olivia felt such an urgent, desperate need to see Ethan. She couldn't wait any longer. Ethan lacked nothing. He neither needed nor coveted her power or wealth. His kindness towards her had stemmed entirely from a deep, genuine love, a love that was now her only remaining leverage to win him back. Ethan had given up his loving parents, abandoned a life of privilege in Southport, all to stay in Northwood for her. Now that he was gone, there was only one place he could have gone: home, back to Southport. The thought solidified in Olivia's mind. She immediately stood up, ready to leave. She had to get to the airport, fly to Southport, and find Ethan. However, just as Olivia stepped out of her office, she collided with Caleb, who had come looking for her. Still fuming from their earlier confrontation, Caleb grabbed her sleeve the moment he saw her. "Olivia Hayes, you still haven't explained yourself. What do you mean back at the bar? What do you mean you love Ethan? Then what about me?" Olivia had no time for his dramatics. She slapped his hand away. "Isn't what I said clear enough? I love him. I'm going to find him. Don't get in my way." Seeing her resolute stance and unshakable determination, Caleb looked as though he'd been doused with ice water. Panic flickered in his eyes. He softened his tone, pleading, Olivia, you can't go. You can't do this to me. You're practically sentencing me to death. I waited for you for 3 whole years, wasted the best years of my life on you, and now you're in love with my stand-in? What am I supposed to do?" But his words didn't sway Olivia in the slightest. She let out a contemptuous scoff, her gaze towards Caleb utterly cold. "Waited for me? 3 years? Caleb, don't think I don't know you weren't exactly a saint while you were abroad. How many ex-girlfriends do you need me to remind you of?" Caleb's face turned ashen. "No, I wasn't. No need to explain. I don't have time to rehash your past right now. But you listen to me good. I tolerated you before because I thought I loved you. But I don't love you anymore. I'm going to find Ethan. Since I was a child, no one has ever been able to change my mind once it's made up. Stop wasting your breath." With that, Olivia coldly pushed past Caleb, who was blocking her path, and strode away. As she walked, she dialed her assistant's number. "Stop the search. I already know where Ethan is. Book me the next flight to Southport. Make it fast." Stepping off the plane in Southport, Ethan was hit by a wave of familiar sights and sounds. A sudden urge to cry washed over him. Sophia had arranged for 2 bodyguards, who now flanked him, one taking his luggage, the other escorting him towards the exit. In the distance, Ethan heard someone calling his name. "Ethan! Ethan!" He looked up and saw his parents, their faces beaming. They were holding the leash of Max, their fluffy, white Samoyed. Max, already ecstatic, broke free and bounded towards him, tail wagging furiously. Ethan scooped up the overjoyed dog, feeling his surprising weight. "Max, you've gotten fat again." He laughed, then turned to his parents. "Mom, Dad, how did you know I was coming back today?" He had planned to surprise them. His mother looked at her son, relief evident in her eyes. Sophia still had some things to wrap up in Northwood. She was worried you'd be lonely traveling by yourself, so she let us know your arrival time. We came to pick you up. She paused, her expression growing concerned. "Ethan, Sophia didn't tell us what happened, but you coming home with bodyguards, and so suddenly. Did you run into some kind of trouble in Northwood?" Ethan frowned slightly. He couldn't possibly tell them what Olivia had done to him. It would only worry them and fuel their anger. He thought for a moment, then simply reached out and hugged them both. "Mom, Dad, Can a guy just miss his parents? Besides, I only contacted Sophia because I couldn't get a decent flight. I had no idea she'd send bodyguards. Don't worry, I didn't get into any trouble in Northwood, and I'm not going back there ever. Hearing their son's reassurances, Mr. and Mrs. Miller didn't press further. They ushered him into the car. All right, let's go home. Mrs. Gable has a feast prepared, all your favorite dishes. That's great. I really missed Mrs. Gable's cooking. The family chatted and laughed all the way home. At the dinner table, Ethan suddenly remembered something. Oh, Mom, Dad, Sophia mentioned she had some unfinished business in Northwood. Did she say when she'd be back? She helped me out a lot this time. I need to thank her properly when she returns. His mother tapped his forehead affectionately. I didn't realize my little boy had started to understand these social niceties. But don't worry about Sophia for now. And like we said before, whether or not we proceed with the marriage alliance with the Wallaces is entirely up to you. You don't have to feel obligated to accept the marriage just because she helped you once. So, when she gets back to Southport and you two meet, there's absolutely no pressure. Ethan nodded, deeply touched. Okay, I understand. Over the next few days, Ethan relaxed at home, eating well, occasionally visiting his family's company to check on things, and taking Max for evening walks. Life was peaceful and fulfilling. One day, his mother informed him that Sophia Wallace was back in town and had proactively invited Ethan to dinner. Ethan readily agreed. That afternoon, Ethan arrived at the agreed-upon restaurant. His gaze swept across the room and landed on a familiar figure. It was Sophia Wallace. He'd only seen her twice before, in the driver's seat just before the crash, and then briefly in the hospital. But her striking beauty had made an impression, and he recognized her instantly. Sophia was dressed in a chic, tailored suit, exuding an aura of quiet power and elegance, a far cry from the pale, injured woman he'd last seen. You're Ms. Wallace? Ethan asked, surprised. Sophia stood up, extending her hand naturally towards Ethan, a warm smile on her face. We meet again, Mr. Miller. Ethan sat down, a little stunned, facing a perfectly composed Sophia Wallace. A knot of anxiety tightened in his stomach. Had Sophia known all along that he was her prospective arranged marriage partner? That would certainly explain her unexpected visit to his hospital room after the crash, her casual dismissal of the accident, and her insistence that he shouldn't feel pressured. But Ethan knew that crash wasn't just a simple accident. And now, considering Sophia was his intended match and had helped him so much in Northwood, he felt a growing obligation. Didn't need to tell her the truth about what really happened? Sophia sensed his unease. Ethan, she said gently, may I call you Ethan? You look troubled. Is something wrong? Or perhaps, you're not pleased with me? It's all right, you can be honest. Ethan quickly shook his head. No, not at all. I'm not dissatisfied with you. I was just thinking, there's something I probably should tell you. Hesitantly, Ethan recounted the true story behind the car crash. To provide context, he also briefly explained Olivia's scheme of using him as a stand-in to fulfill her family's 99 sacrifices. As Sophia listened, her brow furrowed, her fingers tightened into fists, and an almost palpable aura of anger emanated from her. Ethan immediately tried to reassure her. But please, don't worry. I've broken up with Olivia. I'm never going back to Northwood. However, if this makes you uncomfortable, if you want to call off this arrangement, I won't have any complaints. It's my fault for not telling you all this sooner. He trailed off, lowering his head in self-reproach. Sophia reached across the table and covered his hand with hers, her touch surprisingly firm, as if trying to impart some of her strength to him. No, Ethan, she said, her voice low and intense. I'm just furious that monster Olivia dared to treat you this way. I never once considered abandoning our arrangement. On the contrary, I was afraid you would refuse me. She took a breath. Actually, before coming to meet you today, I prepared a little speech. I wanted to ask you, please don't rush to judgment about this marriage. Give me a chance. Let me be your temporary fiancé for a while. Consider it a trial period. If my performance doesn't satisfy you, then you can say it's over. Of course, she added with a small, hopeful smile. I sincerely hope that outcome never happens. Ethan, what do you think? Sophia's words were so earnest, her sincerity and caution so evident, that Ethan felt deeply moved. He had initially thought that if they got along reasonably well, marriage would be acceptable. He hadn't expected her to show him such genuine respect and consideration. It was as if a flicker of warmth was reawakening in his heart, a heart that had felt dead for so long. He thought, I can't let Sophia down. I should give this a real try, really get to know her. Try to have a real relationship. With that resolve, Ethan turned his hand and grasped hers. Okay, he said, his voice firm. Let's do it your way. Over the following days, Sophia made a point of seeing Ethan almost every day. She took him to an amusement park they had all to themselves, and they watched sunsets by the lake. Each time they met, she presented him with thoughtful, often valuable gifts. One evening, tired after a day out, they were having dinner at a restaurant with excellent online reviews. Sophia, noticing Ethan's preferences, carefully picked the cilantro out of his bowl and then placed her own perfectly fried egg onto his plate. In the short time they'd been spending together, Ethan had been constantly touched by these small, considerate gestures. Ethan was just picking up his utensils when a young waiter with a cheerful, boyish face approached their table holding an instant camera. "Good evening. We're running a special promotion tonight. A free photo for couples. Would you two be interested?" Ethan didn't flinch at the term couple. Instead, he smiled. "Sure, that would be great. Thanks." Sophia immediately scooted over from her side of the table to sit next to Ethan, naturally linking her arm through his as they faced the camera. Feeling the warmth of her presence, the subtle fragrance of her perfume, Ethan suddenly felt his breath quicken, a flush rising to his cheeks. "Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Cheese." The waiter pressed the shutter. The photo developed quickly. Ethan looked at it and saw that his face was, indeed, noticeably red. Sophia noticed too, chuckled softly, and then praised sincerely. Not bad at all. This photo turned out really well." It was dark by the time Ethan and Sophia finished dinner, but neither seemed eager to head home. They began to stroll along a quiet path, chatting idly. They passed a dessert shop that Ethan particularly liked, and Sophia immediately went to queue up for him. Watching Sophia's slender figure in the line, Ethan felt a quiet sense of joy. Just then, a hand suddenly clapped down on his shoulder. Ethan turned to see a group of intoxicated women, their hands and eyes far too bold. "Well, hello there, handsome. What's a cutie like you doing out all alone at night? Come play with us." Ethan recoiled, his voice firm. "Stay away from me, or I'll call for help." But the women only seemed more intrigued, leering as they moved to grab him. Just as the closest one was about to touch him, Sophia rushed over, planting herself firmly in front of Ethan. "Get lost, all of you," she snapped, her voice sharp with authority. "This is my boyfriend." Only when the drunken women had completely vanished from sight did Sophia turn back, a flicker of fear still in her eyes. "I'm so sorry, Ethan. I was too slow." Ethan chuckled softly. "It's not your fault. Besides, I'm a grown man. I wasn't in any real danger." But Sophia still looked reproachful. "Ethan, I don't want you to ever experience that kind of harm again. Not when you're with me." Her words struck a chord deep within Ethan. Such simple words, yet they brought a film of moisture to his eyes. In his previous relationship, he had been constantly manipulated, placed in one dangerous situation after another. He had almost forgotten that in a healthy relationship, he, too, could be cherished, protected. Ethan gently took Sophia's still trembling hand. His voice was soft, but each word resonated deeply within her. "Sophia, please don't blame yourself. You are a very, very good girlfriend. In fact, when you're around, I feel like I don't have to be afraid of anything at all." Although Ethan tried to reassure her, after that incident, Sophia never let him out of her sight for even a moment during their dates. Time flew by, and soon it was the last day of their trial period. That day, Sophia took Ethan to a special place, their old high school. Ethan was astounded. "Wait, we went to the same high school. No way. You're so remarkable. How could I have never noticed you?" Sophia just smiled and patiently explained. "We really were high school classmates, Ethan. Same grade, actually, though I was in the class next door to yours. Back then, my family was going through some difficulties. I became very withdrawn, hardly spoke to anyone. So, it's perfectly normal that I wasn't noticeable." She paused, a nostalgic look in her eyes. "But during our sophomore year spring field trip, I actually did talk to you. Do you remember? At the top of Willow Creek Peak, I had set up an easel." Hearing the words spring field trip and easel, a memory clicked in Ethan's mind. He pointed at Sophia in surprise. "That was you." Seeing that Ethan actually remembered her from that time, Sophia's eyes lit up. "Yes, that was me. I was alone on the mountain, trying to paint, but nothing I did felt right. Then you came along. You told me the sunset was beautiful and asked if you could borrow my easel to paint it. I gave you my spot and watched you meticulously capture the evening sky. But honestly, Ethan, watching you so focused, you were far more beautiful than any sunset." Her voice softened. "Ethan, our arranged marriage. It wasn't entirely by chance. I've liked you ever since that day on the field trip." Ethan's jaw dropped. Sophia added, "Every time I pass your classroom, I'd sneak a peek at you through the window. Come on, I'll show you that window. It was a weekend, so the school was mostly empty. True to her word, Sophia led Ethan to the window of his old classroom. But when Ethan peered inside, he froze, utterly speechless. The entire classroom was filled with vibrant red roses, transforming it into a breathtaking sea of flowers, overwhelmingly romantic and beautiful. Sophia turned her head, watching his reaction, a gentle smile playing on her lips. Well, do you like it? Saying this, she pushed open the classroom door and led Ethan into the heart of the floral ocean. The moment Ethan seemed to recover from his shock, Sophia produced a ring and held it out to him. Ethan, I like you. I've liked you for 7 years. Can you give me a chance? To be by your side, always. Ethan blinked. But aren't you already my fiancé? Sophia's hand, holding the ring, trembled slightly. She struggled to maintain her composure, her voice soft and warm. So, does that mean I've passed the assessment? Am I officially promoted? In Ethan's heart, Sophia had passed with flying colors long ago, but she had still gone to such lengths to win his affection, to give him this grand, romantic gesture, to place him on a pedestal. At this moment, it was impossible for Ethan not to be moved. A wide, genuine smile spread across his face. He took the ring. Congratulations, he said, his voice filled with emotion. You passed. My official fiancé. Sophia, overcome with joy, threw her arms around him, and they kissed, surrounded by a sea of roses. Meanwhile, back in Northwood City, Olivia hadn't even made it to the airport before an urgent call from her parents summoned her to the Hayes family estate. She never could have imagined that Caleb would have kept the footage from the botched kidnapping on the yacht. He'd edited it, combined it with the 98 videos of Ethan's sacrifices, and presented the full set of 99 to her parents. To gain their trust, he lied, claiming he had been unaware of the Hayes family tradition. He spun a tale of only discovering the secret, and Olivia's secret filming, after he had already made all 99 sacrifices for her. His heartfelt performance successfully swayed Mr. and Mrs. Hayes. Moreover, after carefully reviewing the 99 videos Caleb submitted, they were deeply moved by his spirit of sacrifice and immediately accepted him as their future son-in-law. When Olivia arrived at the estate and learned all this, she was utterly floored. She hadn't anticipated Caleb being so cunning, going behind her back to secure her parents' approval. To make matters worse, just 2 hours earlier, he had released the videos online, causing a massive public sensation and widespread discussion. This calculated move effectively cornered Olivia, forcing her to abandon Ethan and accept Caleb. Now, Caleb was by Mrs. Hayes' side, lamenting how Olivia could turn her back on him after he had repeatedly risked his life for her. Mrs. Hayes, in turn, was earnestly trying to persuade Olivia. Olivia, dear, your father and I have seen all the videos. Caleb is truly a rare and wonderful man, and the videos online have garnered so much sympathy. This is the perfect time for you to marry him. It will be excellent for Hayes Corporation's image too. Mr. Hayes slammed his hand on the table. Olivia Hayes, if you have a shred of conscience, you cannot, after all Caleb has done for you, still choose to betray him and chase after someone else. The Hayes family has never had such a cold-hearted, ungrateful child. Olivia stood before her parents, weathering their reprimands, her expression unyielding. She looked coldly at Caleb. Caleb, have I or have I not told you that since I was a child, once I, Olivia Hayes, make a decision, no one could change it? I told you not to waste your breath. Caleb flinched, his body visibly trembling. Olivia Hayes, how dare you still threaten Caleb with such words? Mr. Hayes, enraged by Olivia's defiant and seemingly unrepentant behavior, raised his cane to strike her. But Olivia caught the cane, her grip firm. Her voice was chillingly calm as she said, Dad, Mom, take another closer look at those videos. The first 98 were not filmed with Caleb. As for the 99th, it's a self-directed sham riddled with flaws. I couldn't bear for Caleb to suffer, so I found a man with a near-identical build from behind to endure it all in his place. He is the protagonist of those 98 videos. And now I see clearly. I love him. He did so much for me. I cannot, and I will not, trample on his sacrifices. I'm going to win him back. As for Caleb, she spat, he is nothing but a consummate liar. He took it upon himself to release those videos online, hoping to use public opinion to force me to marry him. Such a manipulative, scheming man. I feel dirty even being associated with him. Her eyes, like daggers, sliced towards Caleb. Caleb, everything you've done today, the future repercussions for Hayes Corporation. Your precious Vance family will be bankrupted paying for it. Are you prepared for that? After hearing all this, Mr. and Mrs. Hayes stared at Caleb in disbelief, demanding an explanation. But Caleb, terrified by Olivia's menacing warning, suddenly dropped to his knees, begging Mr. and Mrs. Hayes for mercy. Uncle, Andy, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have deceived you. Please, help me convince Olivia. Don't let her retaliate against our family. Her parents, seasoned veterans of high society, understood everything in an instant. Mr. Hayes, his face a mask of disappointment, summoned the butler. Have Caleb Vance removed from the premises, he ordered gravely. As for the losses Hayes Corporation is about to incur because of him, let the Vance family behind him bear the full responsibility. Yes, sir. After Caleb was dragged away crying, Olivia, surprisingly, also knelt before her parents. Dad, Mom, it was my poor judgment that led to this disaster. You don't need to worry about what comes next. Whether it's the company's public image or Ethan Miller himself, I will do everything in my power to make amends. Leaving the estate, Olivia immediately contacted her crew. Together, they filmed an apology video and posted it online. In it, she recounted the entire sequence of events with brutal honesty and publicly apologized to Ethan Miller. Although Hayes Corporation suffered significant damage from the scandal, Olivia felt no regret. She finally understood. When you do wrong, you have to pay the price. With matters in Northwood City addressed, Olivia immediately booked a flight to Southport to find Ethan. As she arrived at the airport, she saw a group of familiar faces. It was her crew. Olivia, one of them said, "We've been doing a lot of thinking. What we did before, we were wrong. We shouldn't have tormented Ethan like that. Ethan, he's a really good person," another added. "He was not only good to you, Olivia, but to all of us too. We were the ones who didn't appreciate it. Olivia, we want to go to Southport with you. We want to help you win Ethan back. And we need to apologize to him in person." Olivia walked over and clapped the shoulder of the crew member closest to her. Her voice was heavy. "All right, then we go to Southport together. And together, we apologize to Ethan." Upon arriving in Southport, Olivia and her entourage quickly located the Miller family villa. However, when Olivia announced herself at the gate, the security guard's face instantly hardened. Brandishing a heavy-duty flashlight menacingly, he and his colleagues began to forcibly push them away from the property. "So, you're that despicable Ms. Hayes from Northwood City," one guard snarled. "We've all seen those videos. You dare to toy with our young Master Miller like that? Did you think the Miller family security were just for show? Mr. and Mrs. Miller have been so heartbroken over those videos they haven't slept properly for days. And you have the audacity to show your faces here now? I hope you're prepared to pay the price." Olivia and her crew, thoroughly berated and manhandled, suffered several blows in the scuffle. Yet, they stubbornly refused to leave, desperate for even a glimpse of Ethan. Olivia, a woman accustomed to being revered and fawned over, actually bowed her head to the guards, her voice pleading. "Please, I beg you. Can you just let him know I'm here? Tell him I truly understand I was wrong. I just want to see Ethan, to talk to him properly. I'll do anything, pay any price, just to see him." "Looks like you prefer things the hard way," the head guard sneered, pulling out his phone and making a call. It wasn't to Ethan, however, but to Sophia Wallace. In less than 10 minutes, Sophia arrived at the Miller villa, accompanied by a formidable group of black-suited bodyguards. Seeing her, Olivia's eyes narrowed. Olivia's crew members were also bewildered. "Sophia Wallace? What are you doing here? Don't tell us you're still holding a grudge about that car accident. You already snatched that business deal from Olivia, didn't you? We should be even. Olivia and we have important business here. Get out of our way." Sophia, shedding her usual gentle demeanor, swept her icy gaze over them, an undeniable aura of authority radiating from her. She had been busy with work and her engagement plans and had only yesterday seen the sensational news online, the 99 videos. She hadn't realized that 98 of them featured Ethan. More shockingly, she hadn't known the extent of the wrongs Olivia's group had committed against him, far more severe than the casual mentions Ethan had made. Before she even had a chance to seek retribution for Ethan, these people had dared to show up in Southport. Truly, they didn't know when they were courting disaster. Sophia remained silent, merely lifting a hand. Her bodyguards swarmed forward, swiftly subduing Olivia and her entire crew, then proceeded to deliver a barrage of punches and kicks. Soon, Olivia and her followers were writhing on the ground, groaning in pain. Only then did Sophia signal her men to stop. She personally walked up to Olivia and kicked her sharply in the abdomen. Olivia, drenched in cold sweat, gritted her teeth and roared, "Sophia Wallace, are you insane? What right do you have to hit me? Don't think that just because this is Southport, I can't do anything to you." Sophia let out a cold laugh, raising her right hand to display the ring on her ring finger. "What right do I have to hit you? I hit you because you're a despicable lowlife who betrayed my fiancée. Everything I'm doing to you today has the full approval of my future parents-in-law. What? You don't like it? Too bad. You can't do a thing about it. This is Southport, Wallace and Miller territory. You really can't touch me here." Olivia struggled to her feet, grabbing Sophia's collar. "Wallace, what are you talking about? Who do you claim is your fiancé?" Before Sophia could answer, Ethan's voice cut through the tension from behind them. "Sophia." Ethan had been painting inside when he heard the sounds of a commotion and came out to investigate, only to walk into this scene. He rushed between the two women, forcefully pushing Olivia away. Then, his face etched with concern, he anxiously checked Sophia from head to toe. "Sophia, you're a grown woman. Why are you fighting with people? Let me see, are you hurt anywhere?" His blatant concern was a sharp stab to Olivia's heart. "Ethan, you too. What on earth is going on?" Only then did Ethan seem to properly notice that the person he had just shoved aside was Olivia. He frowned. "Olivia Hayes? What are you doing here?" Hearing her name from his lips again, Olivia's eyes instantly welled up. Her voice trembled. "Ethan, I came to beg for your forgiveness. Can you please give me another chance? Come back to me." But Ethan's frown only deepened. "What are you talking about? I already have a fiancé." Those words struck Olivia like a physical blow, leaving her frozen to the spot. Her disbelieving gaze darted between Ethan and Sophia, their hands now tightly clasped. "So, Sophia, she wasn't lying?" "Ethan," Olivia's voice was a ragged whisper, "you and Sophia are engaged? This isn't real, right? I know you hate me for deceiving you, but please, don't punish me with this kind of lie. I really can't take it." Ethan looked at her, his eyes filled with a cool disdain. "Olivia Hayes, do you honestly believe you're still worth the effort of me concocting lies to punish you? Sophia and I have met each other's parents. We are an engaged couple, and we'll be holding our official wedding ceremony very soon." Hearing this, Olivia couldn't bear it any longer and cut him off. "Stop. Don't say any more. I don't believe you. Ethan, you love me so much. How could you possibly find someone else in such a short time? I won't allow it. You left without a word. Did you even ask for my opinion? You are my boyfriend. I haven't said we're over. You can't just leave me, and you certainly can't marry someone else." Perhaps realizing the harshness of her tone, Olivia's voice suddenly softened, taking on a pleading quality. "Ethan, please, can we stop this charade? I admit it was my fault. I wronged you. I shouldn't have deceived you. Shouldn't have made you take Caleb's place for those 99 sacrifices, causing you so much suffering for nothing. These past few days, I've truly understood. I never loved him. The one I've always loved is you. I genuinely know I was wrong. I'm begging you, please, give me one more chance. Come back to Northwood with me, okay?" Sophia, listening to this, couldn't help but step forward. "Olivia Hayes, it seems the beating you got earlier wasn't enough. How dare you try to steal my husband?" Ethan, fearing another confrontation might disadvantage Sophia, quickly pulled her back. He sighed softly and addressed Olivia and her downcast crew with a calm, measured tone. "I've seen your apologies online. Olivia, if you came all the way to Southport because your conscience is still bothering you, wanting to apologize to me in person, then I suggest you save yourself the trouble. Because the best apology you can give me now is to disappear from my life and never disturb me again." With that, Ethan didn't spare her another glance. He took Sophia's hand and led her towards the nearest car. "Let's go, Sophia. Weren't we supposed to have dinner at your parents' place tonight?" Sophia smiled gently. "Yes, let's go." A short distance away, Olivia watched this scene, her eyes practically burning with despair. She screamed Ethan's name, wanting to rush forward and drag him back. But the black-suited bodyguards, anticipating her move, firmly restrained her and her crew, forcing her to watch helplessly as Ethan got into the car and sped away, disappearing from her sight. In the car, Sophia held Ethan's hand tightly, bringing it to her cheek and nuzzling it gently. "Ethan, thank you for choosing me so definitively in front of Olivia. Honestly, ever since you agreed to be with me, I've been constantly afraid. I saw how much you loved Olivia, so I always worry that you might go back to her, and then leave me." A warmth spread through Ethan. He leaned over and gently kissed Sophia's cheek. "You'll never have to worry about that again. The moment I put on this engagement ring, I decided to clear out my heart and make a permanent space in it, just for you." The car quickly delivered them to the Wallace family villa. Sophia's parents had invited Ethan over for dinner primarily because they, too, had seen the infamous 99 videos. They were concerned that Ethan might be negatively affected by the online furor, potentially sinking back into the sorrow of his past relationship, and they wanted to offer some comfort. However, seeing Ethan smiling throughout the evening, constantly interacting warmly with their daughter, Mr. and Mrs. Wallace, felt their anxieties ease. After dinner, Sophia took Ethan to her old bedroom. Since she had moved out after turning 18, the room had remained untouched, its decor still reflecting her teenage years. Ethan explored with curiosity, his fingers brushing over various trinkets, when his gaze suddenly fixed on a photograph. In it, Sophia, clad in a professional racing suit, leaned casually against a vibrant red race car, her entire being radiating youthful energy and confidence. "You race cars?" Ethan asked, intrigued. "That's so cool. I'd love to see you in action." "That's easy enough. I invested in a small racetrack. I can take you there tomorrow to have some fun." "Awesome." And so, they made plans to visit the racetrack the next day. Sophia picked Ethan up early. Unbeknownst to them, Olivia had been tailing them in her own car and followed them all the way to the Southport racetrack. Olivia parked her car and hurried after Sophia and Ethan as they walked towards the entrance. Panting slightly, she addressed Sophia directly. "Sophia Wallace, I know you used to be a professional racer. In your prime, no one in Southport could touch you. So, how about we have a race? If I can beat you, you give Ethan back to me." Sophia subtly positioned herself slightly in front of Ethan before answering. "Oh, are you sure about that? Let's be clear. You want to race me, fine. But Ethan will absolutely not be a bargaining chip. And if you lose," Sophia continued, her voice firm, "you will disappear and never harass Ethan again. Of course, if you win, you can pick any Wallace Corporation project you want. But anything related to Ethan, I won't yield an inch." Sophia's unwavering confidence and possessiveness, so different from the fawning admiration Olivia was used to, made Olivia clench her fists in silent fury. What gave Sophia the right to be so arrogant, so certain of her claim on Ethan? Fine, if that's how she wanted it, Olivia would beat her, cripple a Wallace family project, and delay her wedding to Ethan. She refused to believe she would actually lose to Sophia Wallace. With that resolve, Olivia snatched a nearby helmet. "All right, your terms. Let's race right now." Olivia, changed into racing gear, sat in her car ready to start. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw Ethan carefully adjusting Sophia's helmet, his voice full of tender concern. "Winning or losing this race doesn't matter. But you absolutely must ensure your own safety, understand?" Olivia's gaze darkened further. The race began almost immediately. The moment the flag dropped, both cars shot forward, tires screeching. For a while, they were neck and neck, a blur of speed and engine roar, neither giving an inch. However, Sophia's superior skill eventually shone through. After navigating 2 challenging turns, she had pulled significantly ahead of Olivia. But no one expected what happened on the final lap. Olivia, in a desperate move, slammed her foot on the accelerator, her tires practically spitting sparks as she overtook Sophia. Sophia reacted almost instantly, intending to reclaim the lead on a notoriously treacherous bend. But then, Ethan's words from before the race echoed in her mind. "Ensure your own safety." At that thought, Sophia slammed on the brakes, bringing her car to a screeching halt just inches from the crash barrier. In that moment, Sophia thought with a grimace, once you have someone to care about, you really can't play these dangerous games anymore. Olivia, however, wasn't so lucky. Due to her lack of experience and her reckless attempt to overtake, she couldn't reduce her speed in time. Her car careened out of control and flipped over. With a sickening crunch of metal, Olivia was thrown from the wreckage. In the searing pain that preceded unconsciousness, her eyes frantically scanned the track, searching for Ethan's figure. The last thing she saw was Ethan rushing to Sophia, pulling her into his arms, his face a mask of undisguised terror and concern. For Sophia, Olivia had no idea how long she'd been unconscious. When she finally awoke, her left leg was completely numb. Her crew members were gathered around her hospital bed, their eyes bloodshot to varying degrees. "Olivia, you're finally awake," one of them exclaimed, relief washing over his face. "You were out for 7 whole days and nights. We were about to call Mr. and Mrs. Hayes if you didn't wake up soon." "Man, Olivia, no offense, but you were totally insane," another chimed in. "Risking your life for a race, getting yourself all banged up like this." Then, a more hesitant voice spoke. Olivia. The doctors said your left leg. It's necrotic. You'll have to use a cane for the rest of your life." We were thinking, once you're stable, we could transfer you to a hospital in Northwood, see if the doctors there have any other options. Though they said it, Southport's medical facilities were more advanced than Northwood's, and she was in the best hospital in the city. If the doctors here couldn't do anything, what hope was there in Northwood? The grave expressions on everyone's faces silently confirmed the death sentence for Olivia's left leg. Olivia hammered her senseless leg with her fist, her heart plummeting into an abyss. "Art!" she screamed, sweeping everything within reach off the bedside table. For a time, the only sound in the room was her desperate, agonized cries. It felt like an eternity before Olivia finally calmed down. Panting heavily, she asked the question that had been gnawing at her. "These 7 days and nights I've been in hospital, did he come to see me?" At her question, her crew members' heads drooped even lower. Their silence was answer enough. After a long pause, one of them said softly, "Olivia, we heard that Ethan and Sophia Wallace are planning their wedding. It seems like he's really put you behind him. I think maybe you should try to stop thinking about him." Hearing this, Olivia remained motionless for a long time. Her lips trembled, and then she covered her face with her hands, letting tears stream through her fingers, a broken, defeated sound escaping her. In the end, Olivia refused the suggestion to seek treatment in Northwood. Instead, leaning heavily on a cane, she discharged herself from the hospital as quickly as possible. She wanted to see Ethan one more time before he got married. It was, she told herself, her last chance to win him back. Through various inquiries, she finally managed to find out Ethan's most recent itinerary. He was at a bridal shop. Peering through the shop's large, clear glass window, she saw Ethan, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, his face alight with a radiant smile. The sight of him, so handsome, so happy, left her stunned, unable to move her eyes. And the person by his side, equally resplendent, was Sophia Wallace, also there to try on wedding attire. Ethan and Sophia were animatedly discussing the details of their wedding clothes, completely oblivious to Olivia's fervent gaze from outside. After some discussion, they finalized their choices for the wedding day and walked out of the shop arm in arm. And just like that, as they stepped out, they came face to face with Olivia, who had been standing there for a very long time, leaning on her cane. Olivia's gaze locked onto Ethan, her lips moving, her voice raspy and raw. "Ethan, I just saw you in your suit. You looked incredible, but how could you wear that to marry another woman?" Sophia, clearly displeased, interjected, "Hey, what kind of thing is that to say?" Ethan gently tugged Sophia's sleeve, signaling her to hold back. Olivia looked truly awful, and he didn't want a few ill-chosen words from Sophia to provoke a scene that might entangle them further. "Olivia," Ethan said, his voice measured. "By now, I assume you know I'm getting married. Why are you still looking for me?" Olivia's mouth opened, the words tumbling out, a torrent of thoughts she'd kept hidden deep inside. "Ethan, after you left, I read your diary. I learned about your most innocent, genuine feelings for me. You might not believe this, but when I first approached you, I was truly, genuinely drawn to you. I failed to recognize my own emotions back then. That's why I ended up doing all those things that hurt you, that made you suffer. Ever since I finally understood my own heart," she continued, her voice thick with emotion, "there hasn't been a single day I haven't regretted it. Posting that apology video online, confessing to you, that was real. Coming all the way to Southport to win you back, that was real. Racing Sophia at the track, risking everything, that was real too. Because all of it, Ethan, was because I want you. The only one I've ever wanted is you. Can I please beg you," her voice cracked, "even if it's just for the sake of the 3 years we were together, to make a different choice this time? If you're willing to come back to my side, I'll give up anything. Anything." Olivia's words were undeniably sincere, deeply emotional. By the end, even she was choking back sobs. Yet, Ethan remained utterly unmoved. He shook his head gently. "No, Olivia, you're mistaken. Those 3 years we were together were nothing but your continuous harm towards me. There was no affection, no real connection, as you call it. And I let go of you the moment I decided to leave. There's no possibility between us anymore. Since you're injured, focus on getting better. Go back to your Northwood City as soon as possible. Like I told you before, the best ending for you and me is to never see each other again." "Ethan," Olivia began, desperate to say more, but Sophia quickly stepped in, blocking her path. She shielded Ethan as they moved to leave, and as she passed Olivia, she shot a contemptuous glance at Olivia's injured leg. Her eyes seemed to say, "Get real. You're a cripple. What right do you possibly have to stand here, trying to win Ethan back?" Olivia stood frozen, her gaze fixed on Ethan's departing back, a view she had seen countless times. When his figure finally disappeared from her sight, all strength seemed to drain from her. Her cane slipped, and she crumpled to the ground. "Olivia, are you okay?" A few of her crew members, who had been standing a short distance away, rushed forward to help her up. Suddenly, Olivia grabbed one of their collars, her voice trembling. Why? Why didn't any of you stop me back then? Why did you watch me go down the wrong path? Why did you help me deceive Ethan 99 times, making me lose the greatest love of my life? As she spoke, her eyes reddened, and the crew members beside her also looked tearful. "We're sorry, Olivia," one of them mumbled, his voice heavy with remorse. "We know we were wrong too. Lately, it's not just our consciences that have been tormenting us. Our family's businesses have also suffered, to varying degrees, from the combined retaliation of the Wallace and Miller families. Ugh, this is our karma, isn't it? Olivia," another added gently, "just let Ethan go free, and please, don't bother him anymore. He's always been a genuinely good person. Now, with Sophia Wallace, he's truly happy from the bottom of his heart. He's not going to look back." Hearing this, Olivia remained silent for a long, long time. A month later, Ethan Miller and Sophia Wallace held a magnificent, over-the-top wedding in Southport. No one noticed, in a quiet corner of the grand ballroom, a woman leaning on a cane, her gaze never once leaving the groom. After the wedding reception, the woman handed an envelope to a staff member, asking her to pass it on to the groom. Inside the envelope was a share transfer certificate for 50% of Hayes Corporation stock, and a letter she had painstakingly written to Ethan. When these items were finally delivered to Ethan, he merely glanced at them. He placed the share transfer certificate into a drawer. As for the letter, he didn't even bother to open it. He tossed it, unread, into the nearest trash can. Ethan Miller had long since let go of the past. All that lay before him now was a future filled with happiness and love. The end.